So I've mentioned a few times now that Typhlosion is my favorite Pokemon of all time, which, if you didn't know that, I'm sure you're not surprised, because my character is a Cyndaquil and whatnot. However, I doubt you realize how much of a rabbit hole my obsession with Typhlosion really is. Here's a thought. How about I show you every single Typhlosion I own just so I can show you how deep this rabbit hole really goes? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea! So first, there's my Typhlosion from Soul Silver, which was my first Pokemon game ever. So, obviously, Soul Silver being my first Pokemon game, Cyndaquil was my first ever starter, hence this whole rabbit hole of me presenting myself as a Cyndaquil. Anyway, as for Typhlosion himself, his moves are Swift, Lava Plume, Flame Wheel, and Flamethrower.
Look, I was a noob at the time. I didn't realize the benefit of having moves of multiple different types. And I want to keep it the way it is because I want to preserve what I had way back when I first played.
Anyway, he's the only Pokemon that I've ever reached level 100 with, and he is the very reason Typhlosion is my favorite Pokemon, this specific Typhlosion here. So later on down the line, Omega Ruby was the second Pokemon game I ever got. And then, when I finished that game, you can imagine my shock when I was able to choose a Johto starter, and obviously I chose the Cyndaquil. This Typhlosion, I haven't really used much. Actually, I haven't used him at all. I just kept him in the box after he evolved. But whatever, after I chose the Cyndaquil, I evolved him as soon as possible so I could have another Typhlosion. This game was also where I firsthand experienced the very awful model of the Typhlosion that we have now. And also his changed cry that doesn't sound nearly as epic. Then, a few years later down the line, I got my hands on a copy of Heart Gold, and played through that game with another Typhlosion. Which, since it was my second time through Johto, I decided to change up my team aside from Typhlosion, because why would I not have a Typhlosion? And I gave them all nicknames this time, and this one I nicknamed Bakugo, which I just think is the perfect name for a Typhlosion. Bakugo's moves are Rock Climb, Cut, Earthquake, and Eruption. Look, nobody else on my team was able to learn Cut or Rock Climb. I needed to teach them to Bakugo. So moving on, that is all the games that I own where you're able to obtain a Typhlosion. In the main series, that is. Because in the spin-offs, oh my gosh, that is where the rabbit hole just goes so deep. So first of all, there's Pokemon Masters, where my absolute favorite trainer is Ethan, and his Typhlosion. I literally have it set so that Ethan is the first trainer I see whenever I log into the game, and his Typhlosion is always standing right behind him. In the actual gameplay of Pokemon Masters, Ethan and Typhlosion are at the center of my party, and they are one of the two damage dealers, them alongside Houndoom, but that's not important right now. This is all about Typhlosion. Also, I freaking love Ethan's sync move animation. Like, for a brief moment, you can see Typhlosion with his flames while he's standing up, and that just makes me so happy. But Masters isn't the only Pokemon spin-off that I have on my phone. In fact, I hardly ever play Masters. The Pokemon spin-off that I love to play on my phone is Pokemon Go. In Pokemon Go, I have 4 Typhlosion: Johto Boy, Shiny Boy, Bakugo, and Burst. Johto Boy was the first Typhlosion I ever evolved. Bakugo is on my PvP team. Shiny Boy is obviously a shiny, and interestingly was the first Cyndaquil I ever saw on Community Day. And finally, Burst is my best Typhlosion. He has near hundo stats, and so he is the one that I put in gyms. Yeah.
And yes, I did nickname every single one of them because every single one of them is special to me. Johto Boy, because Typhlosion is the first thing I think of when I think of Johto. Bakugo, because duh, just like in Heart Gold. Shiny Boy, because he's shiny. And Burst is named after the Burst Wisp from Sonic Colors DS. Okay, at this point you're probably thinking, my gosh, this guy really is obsessed with Typhlosion. He has way too many. And you'd probably be right. But I have one more spin-off to show you guys. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, no? Well, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is a Pokemon spin-off where you are a Pokemon.
And I, rather obviously, chose to be a Cyndaquil in that game, and I eventually evolved into a Typhlosion. So, if it's me, does that count as me owning it? I mean, I guess because I own the game, it's kind of weird. But, in that game, I am not the only Typhlosion I own. There are 2 other Typhlosion that I also have. And I have a silly team of just the 3 of us that I like to go on to simple missions with. And I call that team
Typhlosion.
Look at the 3 of us. We're moving in such perfect sync. I love it. I love to play as this team. It's just so silly and fun. I love this silly team so much that I even turned it into a me and the boys at 2 a.m. looking for
Beans meme. I just love it so much. I'm genius for coming up with this team. So anyway, I'm sure by now you're probably thinking, wow, there is no way he could possibly own any more Typhlosion. And you would be partially right.
I do have one other Typhlosion, but it's not from a game. It's actually a plush. So yeah, in Christmas of 2019, I attended a Secret Santa party with some of my friends, and the person who was assigned to get me a gift decided to get me a Typhlosion plush, and I love this thing so frickin' much.
So yeah, that's every Typhlosion I own. Now that you see what a deep rabbit hole my obsession with Typhlosion is, I'm sure you probably want to send me some help or something. What? Why are you guys looking at me like that? I mean, it's my favorite Pokemon. What do you expect? Do you not want me to collect as many as I can? Stop looking at me like that! What could possibly... Oh, what do you know? I've evolved. Huh. Interesting. I guess thinking about Typhlosion so much gave me the willpower to evolve into one. I genuinely have no idea what happened. Well, whatever. This will probably be retconned by the time of my next video. Happy April Fool's Day, everyone!